Welcome, good morning. Really glad to be here for our gentle flow class. Whether you're joining on Zoom or in person, always welcome your feedback after or in the future. No particular props today. If you're newer to yoga or gentle yoga, it can be helpful to have some blocks handy. Maybe also a blanket. But either way, we'll begin in a comfortable seat today. Couple of options for your seat. Sukhasana, one leg crossed in front of the other. If you have the openness, Ardha Padmasana, one heel to the opposite hip. Or you can also send both legs forward, slight bend in the knees. Last option to sit back on the heels. Striving to find a shape here where we can settle in for a few moments, letting the hips ground down, starting to lengthen the spine up. As you settle into your seat, let the arms and hands rest gently on the knees or the lap. Ground down equally through left and right sides of the body. And then as you are ready, close down the mouth and the eyes. Begin to draw air in and out through the nose. Taking this gently, maybe it's the first time you've awakened your breath today in a conscious way. Over 5 or 6 rounds of breath, begin to cultivate your deepest breath cycle today. Feeling the belly expand and rise with each inhale, and actively pulling the abdominal area up under the ribs on each exhale. This deep diaphragmatic breath will help to build core strength, will also help to regulate the nervous system and calm down the mind. My classes this week have been focusing on the theme of ladder sequences. In ladder sequences, we'll take a series of poses with longer holds, really settling in, and then we'll take that same sequence on the breath. Before we start moving, and as you continue to deepen your breath, I thought I'd revisit one of my favorite yoga texts. It's called The Heart of Yoga by TKV Desikachar. And in chapter 3, this is what he writes about the principles of asana, postures, and pranayama, breath. The practice of yoga gives us the chance to experience the many different meanings of the word yoga. We have already described yoga as a movement from one point to another higher point that was previously beyond our reach. But it doesn't matter whether this shift comes about through practicing asanas, through study and reading texts, or through meditation. It is all still yoga. In our practice, we concentrate on the body, the breath, and the mind, and our senses are included as part of the mind. The purpose of yoga then is to unify these actions, body, breath, and mind. Much more important than outer physical manifestations of a yoga practice is the way we feel the postures and the breath. 2 more breath cycles here. I invite you to take those words to heart in your practice today, noticing what comes up in the longer holds versus movement on the breath. Maybe one resonates more with you, maybe not. And at the bottom of your next exhale, open the eyes. If the legs are crossed, switch the cross of the legs, opposite leg in front or on top. Ground down through the hips. And then keep the breath moving as we begin to move. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale through heart center, Anjali Mudra, belly pulling in. Good, inhale, lift the arms up, maybe palms touch. Exhale, Anjali Mudra, torso straight and tall. Inhale, rise up, maybe gaze turns up. Exhale, Anjali Mudra. And then release the arms to the sides, reach the fingers out. With an inhale, lift the right arm up, all the way to the left side of the head, and start to let the right ear fall toward the right shoulder. Not putting a lot of pressure with the hand, just adding a little extra weight here. And then play with those left fingers. Reach them to the left, spread the fingers wide. Option to move that arm forward and back. Getting into the left side of the neck, left shoulder, and breathe. Next, inhale, use your right hand, press your head through center. Exhale, send both arms wide. Inhale, reach the left arm up all the way to the right side of the head. Exhale, left ear drops toward left shoulder. Reach your right fingers to the right, spread them wide. Not a lot of weight through that left hand, just gently helping gravity as you open the right side of the neck. You can move that right arm back and forth, lingering anywhere that feels good. Torso is still nice and upright here, even as the neck bends to the side. And with an inhale, left hand brings the head through center. Exhale, release both arms. And then bring both hands behind the head, one palm on top of the other hand, not interlacing the fingers, right at the base of your head here. And then start to open the elbows wide. We'll take seated cow-cats. Inhale, open the chest, slightly arch the back. Exhale, draw the elbows in, chin to chest, pull the belly in and up. Inhale, seated cow, gaze turns up. Exhale, tuck and round, seated cat. Inhale to rise, open through the chest. Exhale, round. This time, inhale to rise. And on the exhale, reach the hands forward, shoulder distance apart for a forward fold here. Tent up on the tips of all 10 fingers. Draw your chin to the chest and then press the hips back. Really let the back round here. Notice the sensation of breath inflating that space between the shoulder blades. Check in with your face, keep it soft. Run the tongue between the lips and the teeth. Remembering in yoga, breath comes first, movement follows. Next, inhale, walk your hands back in, sit tall, and then uncross your legs. Send your legs straight forward, legs together. If you like to use a blanket under the sits bones for a little core support, you can always slide that just on the back inch under your hips. Other option to just pull the flesh out from under the sits bones here. As you find your seat, stack shoulders right over hips. Should feel the belly active and the back muscles active here. Good, and then with an inhale, bend the right knee. Plant the right foot inside your left leg. We're moving toward a twist. Take this gently. We're just awakening the spine. Right hand behind the back, as close to the body as you can. Sit tall. Left arm wraps around the right leg. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale, twist to the right. Shift your gaze back to the right. And then check in with your left leg grounding down, toes flex toward the belly. Marichyasana variation. Good. If you are ready to deepen, you can hook that left elbow outside the right leg. This will really compress those abdominal muscles. And with an inhale, come back through center. Exhale, send the right leg long, find your tall seat, and we'll move right to the second side. Inhale, bend the left leg, plant the foot inside your right leg, and then work the left hand behind the back as close to the body as you can. Sit tall. Right arm wraps around left leg. Deep inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twist to the left, gaze over the left shoulder, and then ground down through your straight leg. Make sure the breath keeps moving even as you compress. Marichyasana, seated spinal twist. To go deeper, work that right elbow outside the left leg. Full Ujjayi breath cycle here. Next, inhale, gaze forward, send both legs long. And then if you have that blanket, slide it aside off your mat. Make your way to tabletop, either rolling over the ankles or any other way. And we'll come to stand up on hands and knees, shoulders over wrists. Check in with your hands here. Anytime the palms are planted, fingers spread nice and wide, and we're engaging all the knuckles, including the inner edges of the thumbs. Check in with hips right over knees, toes are tucked. And then press down through the palms, lift the rib cage up. Next, inhale, send the right leg back, and we'll hold here. Good. Holding for a few breaths before we find movement. Our first mini ladder sequence. Right toes pressing back in space, gaze is low. Good, and then we'll move on the breath. Inhale, right leg back. Exhale, tap the right toes to the mat. Inhale, lift the right leg back. Exhale, tap the toes. Inhale, lift it back. Exhale, tap. Once more, inhale, lift the right leg. And on the exhale, back to tabletop. Send your knees wide, big toes touch. Press your hips back. Our first Balasana, wide-legged child's pose. If it's accessible, tense up on the fingertips here, arms off the mat, forehead to the mat. If the forehead doesn't reach, you can always slide a prop underneath. And then drive all your weight back toward the heels. A few deep breaths here, opening through the backs of shoulders. You're invited to take this shape or any other resting shape anytime you need. Take an inhale, press down through the palms. Exhale back up to tabletop. Walk your knees under hips. And we'll take that core work on the left side. Fingers spread wide. Inhale, send the left leg back. And we'll hold here. Both palms pressing down. And breathe. Lift up behind the navel, maybe feeling some heat in the torso. And then we'll take those toe taps on the breath. Deep inhale here. Exhale, tap the left toes lightly. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, lower and tap. Slow and steady. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower. And inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Plant the knees back to tabletop. Shake out the hips and shoulders if you need. Just a moment here. And then press down through both palms. Tuck all 10 toes. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, send the hips up and back. Start to straighten the legs any amount. Our first downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Shavasana. You can always keep a deep bend in the knees and down dog here or throughout the practice, especially if you have lower back pain. Otherwise, we're working to straighten the legs, energetically sending heels toward the mat. Take an inhale, come up on all 10 toes. Exhale, lower the heels any amount. Inhale, lift as high on the toes as you can. Exhale, lower. Good, once more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower. Next, inhale, roll forward to plank. Lower the knees. And then lift the ankles. Cross one ankle on top of the other. So knees will be behind the hips here, shoulders on top of wrists. We'll work on our yoga push-ups. What's most important is to hug the elbows into the ribs as we lower. You can lower any amount that feels comfortable. Deep inhale here. Exhale, push the chest forward, bend the elbows, lower any amount. Inhale, press back up, hands and knees. Exhale, slowly lower, chest reaching forward. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, lower. This time, inhale, rise up. Uncross your ankles, plant the feet, and then send the hips up and back. Adho Mukha Shavasana, downward facing dog. Next, inhale, back to plank, just a breath. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin, buttock stays lifted, toes are tucked. And then again here, draw the elbows to the ribs, palms under shoulders, gaze comes forward. Maybe your forearms press all the way to the mat. Ashtanga Namaskar. Take a deep inhale, slide to the belly, hover the palms and knees, and hold here. Toes stay on the mat for this version of Cobra. Shoulders drawing down and away from the ears. Again here, elbows tucking into the ribs. Good. Bhujangasana, deep inhale here. Exhale, press through knees or plank. Back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. From down dog, inhale, gaze forward. Come on the tiptoes. As slowly as you can, tiptoe toward the hands. We're working to come almost to the very tops of the toes, kind of like a ballet dancer here. In your own time, we'll meet in a forward fold at the top of the mat. Good, nice effort. When you find your forward fold, either legs hips distance apart, or for more intensity, big toes touching, heels an inch or two apart. If you have the space, catch the fingers behind the back, interlace them, or you can bring both hands to the hips instead. If fingers are interlaced, straighten the arms, pull the heels of the hands together, and then work the arms any amount up and overhead. The gaze will start to turn back between the legs here, and breathe. This is a great pose to explore balance on the toes. Each time you exhale, contract the belly, drive the weight just a bit further to the toes, letting the heels grow light. Uttanasana variation. And then keep whatever arm shape you have. Take a deep bend in the knees, belly toward the legs. Next, inhale, slowly roll up. Press the feet down. Head and shoulders roll back. And then release the arms. Tadasana, top of the mat. Our first mountain pose. Check in with the feet here. Ideal to pick one option for your feet and stick with that throughout your practice. So again, either feet hips distance apart, outer edges of the feet parallel, or you can try big toes touching, heels apart. Take one deep Ujjayi breath here, preparing for classical Surya Namaskar, sun salutes. Open the eyes if you close them down. Inhale, palms to heart center. Exhale, shoulders back and down. Inhale, reach arms forward and up. Exhale, reach forward, then fold. Right foot steps back. Inhale, lower right knee. And we'll hold here. You can use the left hand, pull the left ankle forward, knee over ankle. Take another inhale, gaze and chest, lift forward. Exhale, press through the palms, back to downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward to plank. Option to lower knees. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin. Tuck your elbows to your ribs. Inhale, slide to the belly. Hover palms and knees. Exhale, back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Left foot steps forward. Inhale. Lower right knee, take your time, set up your lunge, slide that left foot forward, good. Another inhale, lift the gaze. Exhale, step to the top and fold. Inhale to rise, arms forward and up. Exhale, heart center, second side. Inhale to rise. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back. Inhale, lower left knee, and set up your lunge. Pull the right foot forward. Press down through the right toes. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, press back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward to plank. Phalakasana. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Ashtanga Namaskar. Inhale, slide forward. Hover palms and knees. Exhale, back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right foot steps forward. Inhale, lower left knee, and set up your lunge. Take your time. Ground down through that right foot. Deep inhale, lift the gaze forward. Exhale, step up slowly and fold. Inhale to rise, hips forward. Exhale, heart center, and release the arms back to Tadasana. Close down the eyes or soften the gaze. Spread your toes wide. And then we'll work on articulating through the toes. Next, inhale, lift the right toes up off the mat. Slowly lower one toe at a time. Ground the right foot. Inhale, lift the left toes up. Exhale, slowly lower. Good. Plant both feet. Inhale, lift all 10 toes up. Exhale, slowly lower. Next, inhale, lift up on the toes any amount. Maybe the heels lift, maybe not. And we'll hold for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, and lower. Plant the feet. Well done. One more breath cycle here. Open the eyes, and we'll begin our ladder sequence from the top of the mat, moving through the first time with lots of breaths per shape. Bend the knees, sweep the fingers down and up. Utkatasana, chair pose. Make sure you can see your toes in front of your knees. If legs and feet are together, they should be fully touching. Otherwise, a nice option is feet hips distance apart. And then work your gaze up. Maybe palms come to touch. Deep inhale here. Exhale, stand up, fold forward, release. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, and make your way to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Remembering you can find rest at any time in our practice. Always listen to your breath first. Adding on, inhale, right leg up and back, and we'll hold here. Keep sending that right leg high, left heel grounding down, gaze turns back, back as the neck relaxed. Good, slow, steady breaths. One more inhale here. On the exhale, step between the hands for low lunge. Lower your back knee. Take your time to set up here. Press down through the front foot, and with an inhale, rise up. Either hands to the front thigh, or to go deeper, arms up and overhead. Choose your arms here, and then energetically draw your inner thighs together. Feel the torso lengthen and lift. Option to untuck your back toes, feeling that left hip crease. Drop just a bit closer to the mat. Good, if arms are lifted, slightly rotate your pinkies toward one another. Notice the shoulders rolling back and down. Anjaneyasana. Deep inhale here. Exhale, straighten the front leg. Reach the arms forward and fold. Half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. If you untuck those back toes, retuck them. And then either walk your hands as far forward as you can, tenting up on the fingers. Or you can challenge balance, reaching the arms back like wings, palms toward the body. We'll hold here. Really important to keep those right toes flexed, protecting the knee area. Inhale, crown of the head reaches toward the right foot. And on the exhale, belly pulls in and up. Ardha Hanumanasana. If you reach the arms back, reach them forward. Next, inhale, bend the front knee and rise back to high to low lunge. Just a breath here. Inhale, reach the arms up. And on the exhale, both hands inside your right foot. Back toes stay tucked for lizard lunge. So we're working to get that right knee to touch the right shoulder. Fingers spread wide, even engaging the inner edges of the thumbs. If this feels like enough intensity, stay here. Option to lift the left knee, Send the left heel back, work the chest further forward, finding your longest shape. Good, variations look great. Uttanapishtasana. Keep drawing that right knee actively in. One more full breath cycle here. If you lifted the back knee, plant it to the mat. Take an inhale here. And on the exhale, walk your hands to the long edge of the mat. Come to wide-legged forward fold, straightening both legs, big toes slightly turned in. And then let the hands relax. Maybe hands touch the mat, maybe not. Draw your chin a bit closer to the chest, working the gaze back. And then again here, shift your weight forward to the toes. Maybe the heels energetically feel light. Maybe the heels do start to lift just a bit as you press firmly down through the palms. Prasarita Padottanasana A. We'll hold a few more breaths. You're welcome to sway side to side if that feels good. Slightly bending one knee and then the other. Good. So we'll be continuing this ladder sequence in a moment. We'll be moving to face the back of our mat and taking that all on the left side. If you found movement, come back through stillness, wide-legged forward fold. Next inhale, half lift, tent up on the fingers. On the exhale, walk your hands to frame your left foot, back of the mat, and then lower your right knee. We're setting up for low lunge, left knee bent. Take your time here, left knee over ankle. When you find your balance, inhale, rise up, palms to the front thigh, or reach your arms up and overhead. So it might feel a little funny facing the back of your mat, facing away from the screen. I invite you to just notice what feels different. Even in a yoga studio, it can be great to take a different place in the classroom. Just notice how that changes balance, what comes up. Option to untuck the back toes, going deeper, right hip flexor toward the mat. Good. Hip alignment looks great. One more inhale here. On the exhale, straighten the front leg, reach the hands forward and down, and fold for half splits. Ardha Hanumanasana. You can either walk your hands forward, tent up on the fingers, or reach the arms back like wings, really squeeze the shoulder blades together. If you reach the arms back, also notice if the front of your shoulders are rounding down toward the mat. See if you can lift them up and then roll them back. Good, nice adjustments. Lord of the monkey pose. If you reach the arms back, reach them forward, plant the fingertips. And with an inhale, bend the left knee, preparing for low lunge once more. Next inhale, reach the arms up, just a breath. Exhale, plant the hands inside your left foot, lizard lunge toward the back of your mat. Draw your left knee as close to your left shoulder as you can. Maybe they touch. Spread all 10 fingers wide, even engaging those inner edges of the thumbs. Stay right here for more intensity. Straighten the back leg, lift the knee off the mat, stacking that back heel over the toes. Either way, chest is reaching forward, gaze is a couple feet in front of your mat, right heel is pressing back. Uttanapishtasana, deep, steady breaths in this intense shape. And if you lifted that back knee, lightly lower it to the mat. Take one more inhale here. On the exhale, walk your hands back to the long edge of the mat. Move into your wide-legged forward fold. Turn your big toes slightly in. Our second time here, if the legs had a deep bend the first time, maybe you start to straighten the legs, or maybe you slide the feet further away from one another, opening a bit more through the inner thighs. If the top of the head and the palms are on the mat, You can press down through the palms. Even if the top of the head reaches the mat, we're striving to put as little weight as possible there. A lot of the older yogi texts talk about being able to slide a piece of paper under the head. I'm not sure that that's going to be feasible in my lifetime, but that's the energetic goal here. A couple more breaths, drawing the weight even further forward to the toes, maybe heels lift. Good. Really nice hip alignment. Next, inhale, half lift. Tent up on the fingers and walk your hands to the top of the mat. Frame your right foot. This time, step it back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. We'll hold 5 breaths here or in child's pose. Choose what you need. Whichever shape you choose, visualize your breath moving in and out through the nose. In down dog, back of the neck fully relaxed, jaw soft. Good. And if you took tabletop or child's pose here, make your way back to downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale, gaze forward, and step to the top of the mat. Eventually meeting in a forward fold, Uttanasana. We'll close off that first sequence with our chair pose. Bend the knees, sweep the fingers down and up, sit the hips back, Utkatasana. Holding a few breaths here. Good. Make sure you can see those toes in front of the knees, and then lift the chest up, shoulders back and down. Next, inhale, stand all the way up. Exhale, release the arms. And then let the whole body relax for a minute. Shake it out. Maybe wiggling side to side. Just let go of that full body engagement. Good. And then we'll meet back at the top of the mat in stillness. So we'll take that sequence again, but we'll take it on the breath. If you lose track of your breath, just come back in as you can. And just notice if one of these 2 variations resonates with you more than the other. From the top of the mat, bend the knees, sweep the fingers down and up. Exhale, stand up and fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back to downward facing dog. An extra breath to meet in down dog here. Good. From down dog, inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, step between the hands, lower your left knee. Inhale, rise up, hands to the front thigh. Exhale, straighten the front leg, fold forward, half splits. Inhale, plant the front foot, bend the knee. Exhale, hands inside your front foot, lizard lunge. Deep inhale here. Exhale, rotate to the long edge of your mat, wide-legged forward fold. 1 breath cycle here, relax the neck. Good. Next, inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, handspring your left foot, back of the mat, lower your right knee. Inhale, rise up, hands to the left thigh. Exhale, straighten the front leg, fold forward, half splits. Inhale, rise up, bend the left knee. Exhale, palms inside your left foot, lizard lunge. Deep inhale here. Exhale, back to the long edge of the mat, wide-legged forward fold. 1 breath cycle here, smooth it out. And inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to the top of your mat. This time, step your left foot forward, forward fold at the top of the mat. No rush here. Good, moving back to chair, bend the knees, sweep the fingers down and up. And exhale, stand up, release the arms, top of the mat. Really nicely done. Ground down through the feet. And we'll move towards some standing balance today. So if you like to use a wall, you're welcome to move so that either hand brushes the wall. It doesn't matter which for this shape. And then otherwise, both hands to the hips. We'll be working toward crane pose, also called Bakasana. To start, spread through your left toes, really articulate those spaces between the toes. And then with an inhale, lift the right heel off the mat, come to the very top of your right big toe. Before going further, hug everything in toward that left hip, stand tall on the left leg. Stay here with an inhale, lift the right knee as high as you can toward the chest, point the right toes down. Option to engage the arms, one or both arms reaching overhead, and then fingers relaxing to left and right sides. In this pose, we're bringing everything toward the middle of the body. Drishti, gaze is soft and steady. Good, one more inhale, lift that right knee up. Exhale, release. Shake out the hips, adjust the feet. And then if you're using a wall, you can stay right where you are or flip so that the other hand touches the wall. Otherwise, hands back to the hips. And we'll take that on the second side. First, articulating the spaces between your right toes, ground down through the right foot. And with an inhale, lift the left heel up. Come as high onto the tip of that big toe as you can. Draw the weight in toward the body. Stay right here or take another inhale. Lift the left knee as high as you can. Point the left toes down and breathe. Find a steady focal point for your gaze. Just come back in if you wobble. An option to reach the arms up, letting the wrists relax, fingertips to left and right. Couple steady breaths here. In and out through the nose. One more deep inhale, lift that left knee up. And exhale, lower, shake it out. And we'll take a nice wide stance, feet a little wider than hips distance apart. Plant through the feet and start to take some windmill motions, letting the arms wrap behind each side of the body. Keep the feet planted here. Gentle stretch through those outer hips. The breath grew choppy, smooth it back out. Slight pause after each inhale and after each exhale. Slow those movements down. Come back to face forward. Hands to the hips. And then we'll heel toe the feet together, meeting at the top of the mat if you're not already. We'll take one more half Surya Namaskar, really slowing down the movement. Inhale, arms out and up, palms touch. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. This is our last down dog here, so you can stay here or find tabletop or child's pose instead. Whichever shape you choose, lots of integrity. Deep, steady breaths. If you're in down dog, pushing the hips back, work the chest toward the mat, gaze turning up and back. Palms are active, fingers are active. Wherever you're at, one more inhale. And with the exhale, make your way to a seat on the mat. And as you find your seat, we'll bring soles of the feet together for Baddha Konasana. Option to use a blanket again here. Just a reminder, if you use the blanket, just sliding it under that back inch of the sits bones. That way the pelvis tilts forward. Bring your thumbs to the soles of the feet, hands to the tops of the feet, and then start to actively turn the soles of your feet up as you slide the heels toward the body. Go only so far that you feel no pain in the knees. you should notice the outer edges of your legs dropping toward the mat as the soles of the feet turn up. We'll stay upright here in bound angle, checking in with the shoulders. Take an inhale, lift the shoulders up. Exhale, roll them back and down. Feel the collarbones expand. Good. Chest pushing slightly forward of the shoulders. And breathe. Each exhale, hips might fall just a bit further to left and right. One more inhale this way. And on the exhale, hinge forward first. Tuck your elbows to the rib cage. And then let the neck and head release. So we're not trying to get our nose to that space between the feet in this variation. Each inhale, lengthening the spine forward. And on the exhale, pulling the belly in, shoulders back and down. Good. If the elbows meet those creases where the legs meet the side body, you can actively press the elbows to those creases, deepening the opening through the hips. Baddha Konasana fold. Good, really nice shapes here. Next, inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, use the hands, draw the legs together. If you had a blanket, slide it aside. We'll take seated pigeon pose today. So we'll start with feet planted, hips distance apart, pretty far away from the body. And then plant your hands behind your back, fingers pointed towards you. From here, cross the right ankle over the left leg. So you can slide that left foot further away if this feels tight. To go deeper, you can then walk your left foot toward the body. We're working to point that left knee toward the sky here. Good. And then flex your right toes, never pressing on that right knee. Let the right hip open and the knee follows. You can stay here, or you can release the head and neck back. Keep pressing down through the palms. Good. You might press through the palms and foot so much that the buttock slightly lifts off the mat. That's okay here. Maybe neck releases fully back. Couple breaths here. Utthita Ekkapada Raja Kapotasana. Upright king pigeon pose. If the buttocks did lift off the mat, plant it to the mat. Turn your gaze back forward. And if you slid that left heel in, slide it further from the body. One more inhale here. Exhale, unwind, plant your right foot, and then sit forward for a moment. We'll take a little wrist release. Bring the backs of the hands together, fingers down, and just press the hands back and forth. Good. That shape can be a little intense on the wrists for some people. And then release. Come back to your seat, feet hips distance apart, pretty far away from the body. Hands behind the body, fingers spread wide, pointed toward you. Tuck your shoulder blades together. Deep inhale here. Exhale, cross the left ankle over the right leg. Really flex your left toes. If you went deeper on the first side, option to slide that right heel closer to the body. Maybe calf and thigh touch, right knee pointing to the sky. Good. And then let that left hip start to open out with each exhale. If this feels comfortable, option to release the head and neck back any amount. If you release the neck, keep pressing down through the palms, sternum toward the sky. And again, maybe you press down so much through hands and right foot that the buttocks start to lift off the mat. Just find your edge. It's okay if it looks different, side to side. If the buttocks lifted, ground it back to the mat. And turn your gaze straight forward. Start to slide that right heel further away. Deep inhale here. And on the exhale, unwind. This time we'll send both legs long, come to a seat, and then just shake out your wrists any way that feels good. Really shake them out. Good. We're making our way to the back body here, but we'll do so with some core control. If you had a blanket underneath you still, make sure that's off the mat. Keeping legs together, we'll point the toes strongly, shoulders right over hips, and then reach both arms straight forward, thumbs up, spread your fingers wide. Deep inhale here. Exhale, chin to the chest, look at the navel, begin to slowly lower to the back. Go as slowly as you can without stopping the breath. In your own time, you'll feel lower back touch the mat. And then middle and upper back. Good. Lots of stamina today. Beautiful. If you haven't already, begin to release fully to the back body. Flip your palms up, relax the arms, and then we'll bend the knees, plant the feet on the outer edges of the mat, turn your toes out, heels in. Start to take some windshield wiper motions here, letting the knees fall to one side, then to the other. Just like with our seated pigeon, for more intensity, you can slide your heels closer to your buttocks, taking those same movements. That'll help to deepen the quad stretch. Wherever you're at, it's a good time to add an extra count or two to each inhale and exhale. Begin to use your Ujjayi breath control to create that sense of inner calm and rest that comes after effort. The next time you balance out both sides, meet me through center. Knees pointing up. And then we'll plant the feet hips distance apart, arms alongside the body, setting up for just one round of bridge pose today. To start, turn your big toes slightly in. This helps to keep our knees over our ankles. Press down through your palms, fingers spread wide. Next, inhale, lift the hips as high as you can off the mat. And then actively tuck your shoulder blades together under the back body. Maybe you almost are resting on the outer edges of your shoulders. If you have the space, you can interlace the hands under the body and then pull the fists toward the heels. In Setu Bandhasana, we're working to get the hips to knee height. That might not happen today. And if you feel really stable here, option to inhale, lift the right leg up, sole of the foot to the sky. And with an exhale, bend the knee, replant the right foot. Inhale, lift the left leg up, sole of the foot to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee, replant. Wherever you're at, one more inhale, lift those hips up. And on the exhale, unwind, slowly returning to the back. Take a couple breaths this way, letting knees rest against one another. Inhaling through the nose, slight pause. Exhaling through the nose, slight pause. With your next inhale, draw both knees into the chest, head and shoulders stay on the mat, and just start to rock and roll any way that feels good. Give your lower back and spine a massage. Option to close down the eyes at this point or soften your gaze so much you're almost looking at the tip of your nose. We're heading towards Shavasana. If there's another asana or movements you need, I'll leave space here, about 10 or 15 rounds of breath. No rush. You're also welcome to find any clothing or props you'd like to be comfortable and warm. If you're newer to yoga and have any lower back sensitivities, it can be nice to slide a blanket or a thick pillow under the knees in your Shavasana shape. If you're someone that has a hard time grounding down, releasing into stillness, it can be helpful to put a pillow or thick blanket on top of the hips, just adding a little extra weight there. If you're finding movement or an asana, start to move towards your second side. And begin to draw your mind's focus, your mental concentration back to the breath. Start to let go of any images, expectations, thoughts of what you look like in your practice. Really tuning into what you feel like through the breath on the inside. If you haven't already, finish up your movement and meet me all the way on the back body. For Shavasana, legs extended long, toes relaxing to the sides, arms relaxed alongside the body, and palms up. As you settle in on the back, tuck the shoulder blades a little closer together. Bring the chin a little closer to the neck as you lengthen the head back. And then slide each heel a little further from the body. When you have your longest shape, let the whole body release to the ground beneath you. Closing down the eyes if they're not already. Good. We'll take a breath exercise here. I'll start us off counting 3 beats per inhale and 3 beats per exhale. And then I'll set you off on your own, starting to expand your breath to 4, 5, or 6 counts. Preparing to inhale here. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, and pause. Exhale for 3, 2, 1, and pause. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, and pause. Exhale for 3, 2, 1, and continue on your breath. With your next exhale, let go of the counting. Let go of your Ujjayi breath. Mouth and eyes stay closed. The breath becomes soft and shallow. Allow the abdomen to relax fully. Release the tip of the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Nowhere else to be, no more effort to make. I'll chant us into Shavasana with 1 round of Om. As I chant, let go of my voice and cues and hold this shape in quiet and stillness. The practice of yoga gives us the chance to experience the many different meanings of the word yoga. We've already described yoga as a movement from one point to another higher point that was previously beyond our reach. It doesn't matter whether this shift comes about through practicing asanas, through study and reading, or through meditation. It is all still yoga. As you feel ready, begin to deepen your breath, keeping the eyes closed. And introduce small movements to the hands and feet. Gently awakening the neck, rolling it back and forth, up and down. Feel welcome to stay in relative stillness if you like. When you're ready for movement, reach the arms overhead. Find a full body stretch, length from hands to feet. In your own time, draw both knees into the chest. Gently roll to the right side body, resting the head on the arm or the mat. And take a few generous breaths here as we prepare to rise to a seat. Keeping eyes closed or gaze soft. When you're ready, press yourself up to your seat. And we'll close as we began our practice. Legs crossed, legs extended forward, or sitting back on the heels. Whichever seat you take, gently roll the shoulders back and down, lengthen the spine up. And then release the hands to the knees, palms up. Let the thumb and first finger touch for Jnana Mudra, that mudra of inner discernment, inner awareness. The light within me honors and respects the light within each of you. Thank you. Mil gracias. We bow and say a word. Namaste. Thanks so much for joining, and I hope to practice with you soon. I will quickly show the book that I've been using this week for those that are interested. This is definitely a headier, more philosophical book rather than anatomical. But Desi Kachar is one of the most renowned yoga writers, philosophers, practitioners, and it's a really accessible read at the same time. There's also a lot of poses and just interesting photos around how different asanas have evolved over time. So I invite you to check that out or let me know if you'd ever like to borrow it. And thanks again. Have a good rest of your day.